Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than I can't wait to talk about all the amazing Comic-Con news that came out of this past weekend. As usual, we want to follow up San Diego Comic-Con with a recap of all the major announcements and news that went down. Before we get to that, I want to remind you guys that I'll once again be hanging out at the Lost Toys in Dallas, Texas this coming Saturday, July 29th, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So if you're in the area, be sure to come by and hang out. I'll also be selling all sorts of collectibles and comics, and I'll be handing out a limited number of free comic books. As usual, you'll find all the info and links for the meetup in the description. But let's dive into some Comic-Con, because there is a lot to talk about. It would be impossible to get through everything, but I'm going to sift through the madness and give you guys the biggest and best from the glorious insanity that is San Diego Comic-Con. Leading off with something I've been crazy excited about, the updates for Young Justice Season 3. First off, we've learned that the season will consist of roughly 26 episodes. According to Greg Weisman, the co-creator and producer of the series, they have 12 finished scripts and another 10 or so in the works. He also added that they already recorded all or part of 10 episodes, and while they haven't started on the last 4, they know where they're going with them. Like Season 2, Season 3 will have a time jump, allowing the creators to explore more aspects of the Young Justice universe. In fact, co-creator Brandon Vietti said, quote, "There's more creative room here for more adult themes and more sophisticated and challenging stories for our characters. We have a little more room to write for that now." That could mean huge changes for the characters, but who knows how far they're actually going to go with that. I just can't imagine that we're going to have Nightwing or Miss Martian dropping F-bombs. Regardless, Season 3 of Young Justice will be exclusively on DC Comics' new streaming network, along with the upcoming live-action Teen Titans series. All in all, everything only made me more excited for Season 3. Next up, DC Animation and Warner Brothers Home Video announced their slate of upcoming DC animated movies, starting with Batman Gotham by Gaslight. News about this actually leaked earlier in the year, but that doesn't make me any less excited for it. This is easily one of the best Batman Elseworld stories ever written, and it focuses on a Victorian-era Batman who hunts down frickin' Jack the Ripper. Needless to say, I really hope they do this one justice. There's no set release date, but it's expected to drop sometime in early 2018. Then we'll be getting Suicide Squad Hell to Pay in spring of 2018. This movie will fit in with the current DC animated universe, as opposed to the Suicide Squad in Batman Assault on Arkham, which was based within the Arkham universe. Then later in 2018, we will get the Death of Superman animated movie Part 1. Warner Brothers said they plan to be much more faithful to the source material than 2007's Superman Doomsday, which cut quite a bit of the story out to accommodate a shorter runtime. Part 2, called Reign of the Supermen, will be released in early 2019, and will introduce characters like Eradicator, Steel, Superboy, and Cyborg Superman. Moving on to TV news, we got a Season 4 trailer for The Flash. In the trailer, we see a samurai who I could only imagine is Silver Age Flash villain Baron Katana. It's really cool to see how deep they're going into Flash's mythos. They also confirmed that Elongated Man will be joining Team Flash, and that the season's big bad will be the Thinker and not another speedster. So that could be really cool. We also got a new Inhumans trailer, which, to be honest, still doesn't look very good. I'll give it an episode or two, but right now, I'm not optimistic about it. Marvel and Netflix also gave us a brand new Defenders trailer, which looks really fun. It's gonna be cool to see these characters come together and form a team. Although it's kind of weird to see that Daredevil is the only one in costume. I'm not really sure what's up with that, or maybe that's just me nitpicking. Netflix also gave us our first trailer for Stranger Things Season 2. And it looks as good or better than the first season. Using Vincent Price's voiceover from Thriller was a work of art. On the collectibles end, Sideshow and Hot Toys unveiled a bunch of new stuff. Hot Toys showed off their upcoming Justice League and Thor Ragnarok figures, while Sideshow unveiled a ton of new premium format statues, as well as their 1/6 scale line of Marvel figures and DC figures. Man, I need that classic Batman. DC Collectibles also showed off Wave 1 of their DC Essentials action figure line, which are 7-inch highly posable action figures. And that Nightwing will be on my desk as soon as it's released. They're also releasing Batman the Animated Series Joker and Harley Quinn expression packs that come with several interchangeable heads and accessories. Not to mention, they unveiled that they're making the Joker mobile from the episode Joker's Wild. Just take my money already, DC. Just take it. Hasbro also showed off several new figures from their Marvel Legends series, including Ghost Rider complete with his bike, Gwenpool, Spider-Punk, and a 12-inch Jim Lee-style tiger-striped Wolverine. They also showed off Deadpool and Cable figures, and a Defenders 4-pack. Man, it's expensive to be a collector. Switching gears again into the actual comic book world, DC unveiled Scott Snyder's Nightmare Batman, as he referred to them, from DC's biggest comic book event of this year, Dark Knight's Metal. From left to right, you have the Murder Machine, Red Death, Devastator, the Merciless, the Drowned, and Dawnbreaker. They are nightmare amalgamations of different members of the Justice League that come from the dark multiverse. These characters look freaking awesome, and I cannot wait to read this story from Snyder and Capullo on August 16th. Next, Marvel revealed more details about their Marvel Legacy lineup. Essentially, Marvel Comics is following the path of DC Rebirth by launching a new initiative that will put all of their most iconic characters back in the spotlight with brand new storylines. It will also return many of their long-running titles back to their original numbering. And if that wasn't enough, they will kick off Marvel Legacy with an oversized 50-page one-shot in September. Marvel is quoted saying that the one-shot will, quote, set the stage for the next chapter of the Marvel Universe, with hope, heroism, heart, and the earth-shattering return of a beloved Marvel mainstay. Is it me, or does that seem super familiar? I seem to remember another publisher doing something just like that, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I'm sure it'll come to me. All joking aside, I've loved both companies since I was a kid and want both to be as successful as possible. So if copying DC's methods will make Marvel's stories better and possibly bring back Fantastic Four, I'm all for it. Moving on to movie news, Todd McFarlane announced that they are moving forward with another live-action Spawn movie that's going to be produced by Blumhouse Productions. And on top of that, he's writing and directing the movie. Now let's jump to the highlights of what went down in Hall H, because let's face it, San Diego Comic-Con has become more about summer blockbusters, comic book movie news, and nerdy TV shows more than anything else, which most purists and OG comic book fans hate. I personally love it because the reality is that big superhero movies and TV shows are the reason the comic book industry has exploded over the past decade. Plus, who doesn't want to see the Avengers fighting Thanos on the big screen? I sure do. First up on Saturday was the Warner Brothers panel, and they kicked it off with a teaser trailer for Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One movie. Guys, this movie looks to be packed full of all the nerdy nostalgia anyone could ever want. Harley Quinn and what looks like to be either Deathstroke or Deadpool have a cameo in the trailer, as well as Freddy Krueger and the freaking Iron Giant. During the panel, Spielberg even said that the Iron Giant is going to have a big role in the film, which makes me all kinds of happy since that's easily one of my favorite animated movies ever. In the trailer, we also see the DeLorean from Back to the Future and the Akira bike in a street race. It just looks like Ready Player One is gonna be awesome. And well, it is Steven Spielberg, so that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Warner Brothers also showed off their most recent Blade Runner 2049 trailer. This is another movie that looks just ridiculously good, but we didn't really learn anything from the panel that wasn't known already. They also had an incredibly immersive Blade Runner 2049 experience attraction across the street from the convention center that had a lot of people talking. But then it was the DC Films portion of the panel. They kicked it off by revealing the new slate of DC films that will be released over the next several years, which are Shazam, Suicide Squad 2, The Batman, Justice League Dark, Wonder Woman 2, Green Lantern Corps, Batgirl, and The Flash Flashpoint. Each movie also received a new logo, but they haven't released them online yet. I don't know why they just wouldn't release those to create even more hype, but I guess that's just me. Anyway, while we've known about most of these titles for a while, the confirmation of these slate of movies is huge, especially the new additions. Shazam will be directed by Lights Out and Annabelle director David Sandberg, and you guys know that Shazam is one of my favorite characters. So please God, I hope they do him justice. As for Justice League Dark, this one really surprised me. It had been in development for a while now, but I thought it fell through when director Guillermo del Toro dropped off the project. And I gotta say, I've never been so happy to be so wrong. Can you imagine a live-action Constantine, Deadman, Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Etrigan, and so on in a dark supernatural-themed movie? I want it. I want it now. Then they dropped the bomb that the solo Flash movie is now called Flashpoint, which of course is the famous Flash story where Barry goes back in time to save his mom, but in doing so creates an alternate reality called Flashpoint. So if they're taking their cues from the comic story, and man I hope they are, this movie could set the stage for freaking Thomas Wayne Batman, Reverse Flash, and a bunch of other alternate versions of characters. This makes me so happy, I don't even know what to say or do, but I kind of feel like this kid. That was an exact reenactment of my reaction on Saturday when they announced Flashpoint. I'm not even ashamed. The alternate reality aspect of the Flashpoint story would allow the DCEU to adjust any aspect of the first few films that the creators aren't happy with. Possibly even change actors if need be.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm not sure if you guys remember, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan is already Thomas Wayne in the DCEU, which could be very cool if DC decides to go the Thomas Wayne Batman route. Then Warner also showed a small amount of Aquaman footage, but unfortunately, they won't be releasing it online, because they hate us. Director James Wan, however, did confirm that the solo Aquaman movie will be an origin story in a way. Then finally, we got a brand new Justice League trailer and a new poster. I've talked about the previous 2 Justice League trailers on the show before, so I'm not going to get into too much detail. But I think it looks like a lot of fun. The Flash looks really funny, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Aquaman all look awesome. Although I will say I'm worried they're making Aquaman too much of a high school bro, with all the and. But I'll hold all final judgments until I see him in the film, because there are parts where he looks incredibly badass. The trailer also gave us a first look at Steppenwolf, and then there's the reference that the Lanterns are not protecting Earth. Heck yeah. I can only hope that Hal Jordan and or Jon Stewart make a cameo. I love me some Green Lanterns. Lastly, the very end of the trailer has everyone speculating about who Alfred is talking to. I feel that it's pretty obvious that it's Superman. You could even see some of his red cape in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, but some people are speculating it could be Green Lantern because of the green reflection in his glasses. All in all, I'm super excited for this movie, but also hesitant to get my hopes up after BVS let me down. However, Wonder Woman was amazing, so here's hoping Justice League gets it right. Later on in the day, it was Marvel Studios' turn in Hall H, and they kicked it off with Ant-Man and the Wasp and a funny video of Paul Rudd and Michael Pena giving Michelle Pfeiffer a ridiculous summary of the MCU. After which, Kevin Feige revealed that Michelle Pfeiffer, will be playing Janet Von Dyne, aka the original Wasp. They also announced that Lawrence Fishburne will play Dr. Bill Foster, aka Black Goliath. Looks like Perry White hung up his DC shoes to play a hero in the Marvel Universe. Then they showed some concept art and animatics of the Wasp in action, and her suit looks like it's going to be more like what we see in the comics than what we saw in the first movie. It was also revealed that Hannah John Kamen will be the Ghost, who is essentially a C-list Marvel villain, and Randall Park is Agent Jimmy Woo, who is yet another not well-known Marvel character. In the end, it's still not clear who the main villain will be in this one. Next up was the Black Panther. Nearly the entire cast was on hand for the panel where they showed new footage of the film. But again, unfortunately, it wasn't released online. We also got a new Black Panther poster that looks amazing. Then Andy Serkis, who plays the villain Claw, also confirmed that he will be getting his robotic arm in this movie, which is awesome. Marvel Studios then turned to Captain Marvel and showed off tons of concept art and revealed that the movie will take place in the early 90s. We also learned that Nick Fury will not only appear in Captain Marvel, but he will have 2 eyes when he does. So we might see how he got his famous eye patch. But the biggest news from the Captain Marvel panel is that the Skrulls will be the villain of the movie. It's about time we get some Skrull action. And the concept art they showed for them looks like they're going to be ripped right out of the comics. Then there was the Thor Ragnarok trailer. The movie picks up 4 years after the events of Thor the Dark World, and simply put, it looks amazing. The director and entire cast joined the panel, and Mark Ruffalo confirmed that they are on planet Sakaar from the Planet Hulk story. We also found out that the Hulk speaks and has a limited vocabulary in the movie, and if the trailer is any indication on how they're going to play that up, man, are we in for a treat. Ruffalo also said that Hulk has been on Sakaar for 2 years and likes being a popular gladiator, so he refuses to become Banner. But we see Banner several times in the trailer, so I'm very curious to see how that plays out. Cate Blanchett looks great as the villain Hela, and finally Jeff Goldblum revealed that he is playing the freaking Grandmaster in Ragnarok. He is the Collector's brother and one of the Elders of the Universe, a group of ancient beings who came along shortly after the Big Bang. Marvel Studios then finished up their presentation by showing the same Infinity War footage from D23. If you guys want to know my thoughts on that, you can check out our D23 recap episode. Here, where is it? Right there. There was obviously a crap ton more news to come out of San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, but this pretty much covers the bulk of the biggest highlights. We also covered Comic-Con on our website all weekend. If you're still hungry for more, jump over to variantcomics.com and enjoy. As always, if you love some Variant, clickety-click on the subscribe button and then the bell right next to it so you're notified and never miss a new episode. Other than that, we'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.